RuneScape is one of those games where there's so many opportunities to make a lot of mistakes. So in this video, we're going to go through some things that you shouldn't do in RuneScape 3. These are going to be some things that I commonly see people make the mistake of doing, and it ends up either being a bigger problem later on, or ends up burning them out, or causing them a little bit of like wasted time and all that sort of stuff. So let's get into it. If you can think of any more, drop them in the comments, and if there's enough, then I will do a part 2 using your guys' screenshots, and we'll go from there. So these aren't in any particular order. However, number 1 is going to be not realizing that for RuneScape, a lot of the fun in the game and the most enjoyable part of the game is actually going to be the journey from like mid game to end game. Now, when I say end game, I don't mean like the entry level end game. I mean like when you're done, you've killed all the bosses, you've unlocked all the gear, and you're kind of like, okay, we're waiting for the next content release. Going from the position where you've found a way that you want to progress your character, be it through skilling, clue scrolls, or PVM, you can go from that point to the very end of the game where you have everything that you actually desire. That journey of going from point A to point B is likely going to be the most fun you have. For example, when you get your first big drop from killing a boss and you have that massive progress of like 1 billion GP, and you're like, holy crap, I've just got like the biggest amount of coins, what am I going to spend it on? And you realize that that's only going to buy like 1 or 2 things, and then you're going to have to get back to the grind, but that dopamine hit is going to be enough to drive you along the whole way through. But when you hit the end point and you don't really need money anymore and you don't need coins anymore, suddenly the motivation to go ahead and do that, if you don't have any goals to drive for right away, drops a little bit. And the enjoyment of the game, while you're doing the same sort of things, you're killing the same bosses, you are getting the same loot, you're doing the same sort of things that you would do normally, but because you don't have a big exciting goal to go towards, then it gets a little bit less enjoyable or rewarding, I suppose. However, the reason this is on the list is a lot of people actually think that the fun in the game is going to be when they hit endgame, they get best in slot gear, and then I can kill all the bosses, right? If I get best in slot gear, then I can go around and kill everything. But then suddenly it's like, well, why are you killing everything? So a lot of people like to skip through this as much as they can. Maybe they will buy bonds and sell that for GP, and then they'll get all the stuff, and then they'll go kill the bosses and suddenly be like, well, either one, you're not going to be able to kill them straight away because, well, you're getting gear doesn't mean you can necessarily just kill the bosses, but 2, eventually it's like, well, why am I killing the bosses? What am I actually going to be doing this for? So don't try and rush through and skip through the whole journey. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy every single step towards your goal that you have, because that's going to be the biggest fun for a lot of people. Number 2 is avoiding degradable gear, or buying degradable gear, or using degradable gear. This is something that happened. You guys, comment down below. I know there's a lot of you guys that do this all the time. The amount of times I have a discussion with somebody and I'm like, oh, how come you're not using this gear instead? And they go, it's degradable. I don't want to use that. It's a waste of money. And it's like, it's not though. Usually there's a reason that stuff is degradable. One, it's to make sure that it holds value in the game more than it like normally would, because if it degrades, then it needs replacing or repairing in some source, and that's good. But also it's like a balancing feature as well. If it didn't degrade, it would be pretty damn broken, and like I said, the value of it would drop a little bit because you wouldn't need to keep like repairing it. That being said, it is a big mistake to not take advantage of degradable gear for certain situations. Of course, there's going to be times like Slayer, for example. You're not going to want to use the best in slot degradable gear to do AFK Slayer on monsters that are easy to kill. That's a waste of GP because you don't need that gear to do it. But for PVM and stuff, you're going to notice a huge difference for using degradable stuff, and whether it degrades to dust or not, it's usually absolutely fine either way. So if you are someone who is putting off using the degradable gear, for example, the Tectonics, the tier 90 gears, before having the gold to get tier 92s, maybe you're using like, I don't know, Virtus instead because, hey, I can repair this, then honestly, consider using the other stuff instead. It will make a big difference. Check it out. It is definitely worth it. And also, not to mention, we are now getting into the part of the game where Jagex is adding actual set effects to the armor. So for example, Elite Serenic wasn't really worth it in the past, but it is absolutely worth it now. So all that sort of thing kind of weighs into it, and it is definitely worth taking advantage of the higher level gear sets if you aren't already. Bit of a joke one here, but there's going to be someone in the comments that does this, I swear to God. Don't use Vampirism Scrimshaws on anything other than melee. I know you guys are going to do this, or someone is doing this right now, because I did it in the past. And the last time I mentioned this in a video like a year or 2 ago, there was a few people going, oh my God, I have used so many of these Scrimshaws with ranged and magic. I didn't realize it wasn't doing anything. They only work with melee. So if you are using them for anything else, guys, fess up in the comments first of all. But otherwise, they don't work. Please don't use them. Quick mention in the video, if you guys haven't clicked the sub button yet, over 50 54% of you guys, in fact 54.5% of you guys that are watching the videos haven't clicked the sub button. So please do, helps out a ton, and let's get back to the video. Another thing that I did as well, that a lot of you guys, I know you guys do this too, and to be fair, right, it's kind of like a 50-50. If you want to do it, then just freaking do it, but you shouldn't. Don't do this. Don't spend all of your early GP or first big chunk of GP when you get like a big drop finally, or you get like a big reward from a clue scroll, anything like that. Don't waste it all on cosmetics. Use it on like improving your character, because the money will come a lot quicker. I used to do this. I used to spend ages all the time AFK at Kriara. This was like just after EOC, right? And I would just AFK at Kriara all the time, and I would use a Zarite bow and I think Pernix gear or something like that, and all I did was just AFK there for ages. And every drop that I got, I would sell it and then buy bonds, and then I would use those bonds to get rune coins, and then I would browse the Solomon store for ages and I would spend my rune coins on overrides that I was never going to use, because I was like, whoa, this is so cool, and I'd never use any of those overrides now. And also, if you just invest the GP into your actual character and level up and get better gear, you can kill the boss quicker, get more drops, get more money, and then when you've got a source of like a way of killing things over and over and over again and making way more money, then you can splash out on the cosmetics. That's the best way to do it. But again, if maybe your fun in the game is purely just collecting all the cosmetics, maybe that would be a way to do it. But even then, it'd be more efficient for you to make more money faster than buy them, probably. But you do you. Either way though, this is something that I did, and it's definitely a mistake that I made. Next up is the good old double XP weeks. Now, the week events where we get 48 hours of double XP rates spread across 10 days. In fact, not a week, 10 days. This is a mega good event that comes around 4 times a year, I want to say. And a lot of people don't take advantage of this the most they should. I'm not talking about people that are maxed already, like myself. I don't use double XP. I let it run. And then when I'm streaming, people are like, "Ennett, your time is still running." And I'm like, yeah, I know it is. It doesn't even matter. But I should probably still use it. Point is though, if you are somebody who is leveling up your account wanting to progress, the best way, in my opinion, to use double XP is to look at your account and think, right, what do I have more of? Do I have more time, or do I have more money? Like, do I have less time and loads of money, or do I have not much money and loads of time? And then you should focus on doing the things that are going to be more efficient. For example, if you have loads of time, but not that much money, then you should probably invest your double experience time into things that are going to cost a lot of GP, because this way you're halving pretty much the amount of GP it's going to cost you to actually progress. For example, if Herblo is going to cost you 100 million GP to go to whatever goal you want, you do it on double XP, and technically, in theory, it's going to be half of that, right? It's probably going to be different depending on when you buy supplies. If you buy them in advance enough, it'll be right. But if you buy them like on the day, it's still going to be cheaper, but it's going to cost you a little bit more. But if money is the issue, then I would focus on using double XP to get rid of those buyables. And then, of course, if you're someone that maybe only plays like an hour here and there, maybe you work, right? And you can buy a few bonds here and there, and that's what you like to do. On double XP, you should probably spend that time doing things that takes a lot of time. For example, rune crafting doesn't take freaking ages, right? It's a lot slower to level than like combat. So you focus on rune crafting, getting that out of the way, and then you're all right. You don't have to worry about money and all that sort of stuff. That being said, though, another thing you should probably do is during double XP, think what's going to get me to a position where I can make more GP to be able to then put that back into my account and do that first. So you kind of set a goal. If you want to do PVM to make GP, I'm a PVMer, so I use PVM for everything, by the way. But if you want to make GP, and then through PVM, then you focus, right, I need these skills to be able to do PVM efficiently. I'll focus on those first in double XP, and then I'll make more GP, and then for the next double XP, I will have way more GP to just dump into my account. So that's another thing to consider as well. But take advantage of the double XP weekends. If you don't and you do them incorrectly, you either spend a lot longer working on stuff, a lot more GP, and then you gotta make the GP, which takes more time and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, take advantage of it. This is another one that I did a long time ago, long time ago. When you're quitting the game in RuneScape, don't do a drop party for all your friends. Like, you may think, I am quitting RuneScape forever. I am never coming back. I'm going to give away all my GP. I am going to give it all to friends or do a drop party for my clan. It's going to be amazing. And then I'm going to leave forever. And then a year later, you're like, hey, I just saw a RuneScape ad. I might go try it out again. You log in, you have nothing. So if you're someone who is maybe considering taking a break, what I would suggest you do is not give away all your GP. Don't give away all your GP. Yeah, some people might think, you know what, I actually am quitting for good, and maybe you know, like for a fact that you actually are. You do what you want to do, right? But if you are someone who plays games a lot, plays some MMOs a lot, jumps from MMO to MMO, a lot of people will give away their GP before they leave, to a drop party, all that sort of stuff. Hang on to it, because when you come back, you'll be in a good situation to continue on going. And that's the best thing about an MMO, right? Like, you're in a game where you don't have to play 24/7, but you can always keep that progress. Yeah, but I did this at like maybe at EOC time. Straight after EOC, I was like, yeah, I'm not playing anymore. I dropped so much money at that time for me. It wasn't even that much now, but like at the time for me, it took me a hell of a long time to make. I dropped it all from my my clan at the time, logged off, came back like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years later, and spent ages grinding away at trying to get some GP. And yeah, it was fun to do that, but it would have been nice if I had that to start off with and then progress from there as well. So keep that in mind when leaving and coming back. And nobody quits RuneScape. Nobody quits. Like, well, the majority of players don't quit. They just take breaks. And it doesn't matter how long that break is, you're going to eventually get that itch that you want to scratch, and you're going to head back in. And then maybe it'll be nice to actually have that stuff there waiting for you. This one might get a little bit heated because it's something I remind people about quite often whenever I get like a few messages pop in Discord at the same time. I'm like, okay, it's that time of year again. We need to remind people not to mess around with lurers or scammers. Basically, the people that are like, hey mans, can you come to this world? I'm quitting the game and I want to give you my GP for a video and I'm just quitting. And yeah, no, don't. Just ignore them. A lot of them, people think, right, okay, I know this guy's a lurer. It's so obvious. I'm going to try and anti-lure him and take him for his money. Even if it's just a little bit. Don't. They're giving you like 50 mil. They want you to risk a party hat, something like this, or some like expensive gear. You're trying to anti-lure them for 50 to 100 mil. Like, what are you doing? No, stop it. Stop it. They expect you to anti-lure them. They make it so obvious that they're a lurer on purpose because they want you to think, oh, I know how this works. And then when you try and anti-lure them, then they get you for that. So guys, if this happens, if anyone contacts you and says, hey, I'm from Jagex making you a player mod, no. If they are wanting to quit the game and give you their money, no. If they want you to go to the wilderness in any way whatsoever for no reason, no. I mean, it's crazy to me to think that even now that we have PvP toggled off, right? PvP is not on, but people are still getting lured because they're somehow being talked into turning PvP on, keeping their items with them, then crossing the wilderness ditch because they go, well, the first part of the wilderness is safe, so I'll be okay. The first 2 tiles, I'm all good, right? As long as I don't step out. And then they get like animation stall lured. Please, just don't. Like, it's crazy ever to think, like, just no. What are you getting out of it? Like 50 mil, 100 mil, 200 mil? You're risking like 5 mil. What are you doing? It's not worth it. Anyway, we're going to move on from this one. Please stop getting scammed. Please. Anyway, for this video, we're going to end it there because it's probably going to get a little bit long. I think I talked a bit more than I expected on each point, but that's absolutely fine. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do let me know in the comments, but also if you can think of any more of these, any mistakes you've made along the way, then drop them down below and I will make a second video for this. In fact, I may even make a community post saying, what mistakes have you made in the past? And then we'll do a part 2. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like, sub to the channel if you are new around here, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.